Greetings, Anarchapulcians. Welcome back to Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. I am here on location at Anarchapulco with the event runners themselves. Welcome to the show, Catherine. Welcome, Lily. How are you?
Thank you. I think we're great.
I
don't want to speak for both of us, but I'm doing great.
Yeah, okay. So, I haven't been to this event in 3 years. The last time I was at the event, it was over at the old, Princessa? Is that the name of the hotel? And I have to say, this event has almost nothing to do with the old event, aside from just being for anarchists.
And the name.
And the name.
And a lot of the people. I mean, there's some people who carried through.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
But all the ways that I'm finding it's different, except for a couple that we can talk about if you want,
Sure.
I think it's absolutely better. Like, I've never seen, in all the years I've been coming, I've never seen this event run so well as it is being run now. There are chat groups for the speakers to get where they need to get. The runners are on top of every problem that's going on. There's, of course, problems, but they're handled. The mood is super chill. The people are not bitching about goddamn everything. It's just like people are chill, people are happy. I think part of that is the location. I think this puts people in a different mood than the hotel. The hotel was like very formal and official and normal, and this is just like an oasis in the middle of nowhere, and
it's an absolute oasis.
Yeah, it's hard to be angry when you're surrounded by beauty. Like, you walk around and like you start to get angry and you get hit in the face with an orchid, and like, can you really be angry when you're hit in the face with an orchid? That happened.
Like storming down the path. Like,
that happened earlier to me. I was walking through here looking for something, and whack right in the face, and I was like, all right, nature.
Yeah, and I noticed earlier I was getting too hot, and we're in the green room where a lot of the speakers and production staff are throughout the day, and we were talking about some things that strategically we want to change for the next 2 days because we've had some logistical bottlenecks and just some things pop up, and so we want to handle them differently the next couple days. And I'm feeling a little too hot, and I go sit in the pool, and I'm smoking, looking around, and I told my husband, can you just take a picture real quick so I can document that I manifested my dream job, please? Like, this is like insane. And you compare it to the Princess, where we were in like a really cold, way too cold, plain box with like hotel carpet, and we're up in this office, and we're like running the event from this production studio that's like very corporate feeling,
very corporate
and impersonal, and things are just the vibe was completely different. And so if you can imagine, as someone working for the event, having this tropical paradise as our work environment, people are getting along pretty well. Like things are tranquilo.
It's not corporate at all. We're outside the whole time. The food is decent. The drinks are amazing. The treatment, I have never been treated so well as a speaker. I feel like a king, and I feel like I don't deserve half of the cool stuff that's happening to me.
What?
So I'm super honored to be here, and that puts me in a mood of like, okay, I'm a speaker. It's my job to put on a really good talk for you, for the attendees. But I'm being treated so well that I'm almost like, okay, now what else can I do to help you? Which is unique. I haven't had that before, so it's super cool. What are you doing different? What changed?
What aren't we doing different?
How we used to.
Almost everything.
The team is different.
Yeah, everything's changed, and I think a big part of it was the COVID lockdown. We were really forced to reassess what was important, and I wasn't willing to not do something. And we came together. It was Lily, Macy at the time, and me at first. After Jeff said, "Okay, we can do it," and we said, "Well, what are we going to do?" And we came to the conclusion that if we had to do a virtual-only event, and it was like 6 of us sitting there producing it on location, we were showing up. Like, that was how dedicated we were to making it happen. And so we started looking for a venue, and the old venue was like, oh, yeah, you got to cover your face. And, oh, the seats have to be 6 feet apart. And, just like, what? No. That's not even up for debate. It's like that absolutely cannot happen. And so what do? And you start looking at banquet halls, and you start reaching out to other hotels, and you start just moving further and further out of corporate travel, touristy, beachy, and you start working your way down the beach into real Mexico. And here we are in this beautiful venue, absolutely beautiful. And it turns out they're extremely like-minded. They walk the walk. They hold the same values we hold. And the space is run by a family. And a lot of the men in the family, they're our age, they're of our generation. They've got young children. And they're here working by our sides. And they're growing with us. And they're evolving with us. And we started out in code red lockdown. And they were willing, 70 people. And that included speakers, that included staff, that included production team. It was like, okay, we're going to make this happen. And then, okay, we're willing to do 80. And as we gained trust in each other and came down and visited and started talking about plans, we ended up with 140 people. And people came from all over the world. And they showed up. They found a way to make it happen. And some of the stories about what people were doing to arrive and to arrive safely and to arrive in a way that was dignified. It was just absolutely incredible. I mean, it felt so empowering, right? I mean, it was. We had all been kept away in little boxes for a year, and then we all arrived and we gathered, and I think it changed the course of history for Anarchapulco, and
it took us back to basics, which is what a lot of people were saying, is that Anarchapulco itself, and Larkin was saying this on the stage earlier on our panel. He's like, the desire to become big, but at what cost? Like, what were we losing in the flow of that? And I kind of thank COVID for coming and forcing us to go back to basics and just start over and build what people actually wanted to see, not just what some people at the top were like, well, this would be cool. Let's have a nude pool and let's get a rage room and a strip club. And it's like...
Wait, there's a nude pool here?
That's the old Anarchapulco.
That's the old
Like, what?
And in the end, they would advertise these things, and most of the time they didn't even
yeah.
happen. You know, like it was I don't know what it was.
I found rules for the nude pool and the rage room in the drive the other day, just poking around, and it was just like, yeah, that didn't happen, and I'm thankful that it didn't, because, like, we don't need that kind of, stuff to grow as people. We need actual real connections, not,
Yeah, I think we're evolving from this place where a lot of us, I know for myself, 10, 15 years ago, I was really mad about what was going on. And so for me, when COVID happened, it was like, well, this is what I was talking about, and I kind of was just like not mad anymore, because it's like, well, saw it coming.
Not surprised.
So here we are. But it was the catalyst for a lot of people who are mad and were mad. And I think what Anarchapulco is becoming, I think it used to be a place where people would come together and stomp around and be mad together. And slowly over time, the event started incorporating aspects of spirituality, your favorite thing, or physical health, or, just these different things, right? Different aspects of freedom, not just talking about the loss of it, but starting to talk about what it actually looks like to embody and exist in this world as a free person, right? And it's become more hands-on and more practical, and there's gardening classes this year. There's just all these really neat practical things, right? In addition to the more intellectual
and I do want to say there's way more Mexican influence, and I've been part of that, because like too long have we come to Mexico and gringo bubble with gringo performers and gringo speakers only in Mexico, just kind of like coming here and taking things and flooding the area. And at the Princess, we were just giving all of this money to a corporation, whereas here it's going to the local community. But beyond that, we have Mexican speakers this year. We brought a whole troupe of Mexican circus artists, which I literally can't shut up about, because they are
Apocalypto, right?
Yeah, well, like, they're called Circus Una is the name of their organization. But they were given a theme, and we were like, this is the theme. We want costumes, and we want your show on Sunday night to revolve around that. And they invented that show literally in 24 hours. And then last night they did an extremely kids-friendly, like really funny, but like also shocking with the tricks, because as soon as you'd be sitting there laughing, they do something shocking and everybody like, and like Friday we're going to have Akil Amar, who is a Mexican rapper who's super famous in Mexico. He's probably the top Mexican rapper, and we're focusing on actually bringing in some real culture to this I hate to say it, but kind of whitewashed event.
Lean in, Miguel. This is the best guy that I've met at this event. He's helped me over and over. Say hi to the camera, Miguel.
Hi. Thank you. I do my best. For you.
So there's been a lot of panels. You had a panel today about the documentary, The Anarchists. I did not see the documentary because I was over here recording, unfortunately. But how did it go?
I mean, it was great. Really, honestly, since that series came out, this whole event has been very strange. In a good way, because, like, everybody's like, oh, I saw you. Even I bought earrings from a Mexican lady today who's like, you're Lily.
The guy at the rental car place, I went to go pick up a rental car, and he saw my Anarchapulco badge I was wearing. And he's like, oh, Anarchapulco, HBO, Anarchist.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah. And he's like, do you know Lily?
Wow. Read 'em.
And I was like, yeah, I sure do.
It was weird enough to where, like, we were helping Ron Paul backstage, and his nephew looks at me, he's like, you're Lily, right, from the series? I watched that. And I was like, oh, yeah. And Ron Paul's like, I watched that, too. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Ron Paul watched it, huh?
And get this. When we opened the stage, we asked how many people here. So I don't know if we've blown past 600 or where we are, but in WOVA it says we're over 600 people. But, you know, I want to see the official sales numbers. We're in the 600 region, probably gone over, which is great. And I asked the audience on day one, how many people are here for the first time? And it was like 75%.
And they were all so excited.
It's an entirely new generation. It is a much more, I would say, established. There's an older generation showing up. And I'm like, I'll be damned. Did COVID wake up the baby boomers? Because that's what feel like I'm seeing in real time. So to really answer your question, what are we doing different? Well, we picked a totally different environment. The theme for that year when we showed up here was breathe. I think that was your idea.
It was. Yep.
And it's just the most simple concept, right? It's like the foundation of existence here as human beings. We need to breathe, right? And how important it is that first breath and that last breath in our life. Like, this is the rhythm in which we exist to. And so that was the theme for the event. And you know, you look around here and it is just lush tropical greenery, and it felt so good for everybody, right? And we decided to keep the model. People loved it, and it was small, and it was single focus, just the one stage, everything taking place in one place, which was a huge shift from the Princess, where we had 6 stages running at a time. And I know for me, I was running across the venue, sprinting from here, sprinting to here to handle this or handle that, and this is much more contained. And
still some sprinting happening.
But not as much, not as far of a distance. And then this year, because we've grown to the size that we've grown, and we do actually conduct surveys every year, and we do actually use the survey data. That's how we pick our speakers. That's how we decide the dates we want to do the event. That's how we decide, you know, what type of aspects to bring in or take away. And people said, you know, we want more time to just talk, and we want more variety in the things that we do. So this year before lunch, it's like choose your own adventure. There's all these things going on. There's kayaking, temescales, there's workshops, there's panels up on the stage, there's, you know, hula hooping, and I mean, just all sorts of awesome things are happening. There's kids stuff going on. There's a family circle in the morning where people are gathering. And then lunch, there's nothing going on. And everyone just gets to hang out. And that's what we were just walking around feeling the lunch vibe. You know, we're just right now checking out the venue, making sure everything's going well. This is the post-lunch vibe now. But it just, everything's like great. Everyone's connecting. Every part of the venue that I show up to, it's just this magical vibe. And then after lunch, it becomes single focus on the main stage, except for some kid stuff happening. And we do maintain at least a little bit of that, you know, all eyes and ears at once kind of thing on the main stage, and the nightlife.
Oh, the nightlife.
Ooh, the nightlife.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
this is the first year Anarchapulco has really, like, in my experience, really put thought and love into what the nightlife is. Instead of just whoever comes our way and it's like, let me play, we just let them up there. We put a lot of intention. Like, I know I put like 6 months of, when are we doing the nightlife meeting? When are we doing that? We got to talk about the circus. We need to talk about the circus. But, like, it's really, it's paid off because everybody's just like, wow, we've never seen anything
Rebecca's
like
done a great job. And I think this is the first time we brought in someone to specifically focus on nightlife. And so Rebecca came in, and I was just like, look, we need someone to really make this stuff shine. And here's the type of event we want on Sunday, a launch party. And here's the type of event that we want on Monday. And kind of went through the week. And what I love about Anarchapulco, and what I think could maybe be something that's changed over the years that I think might change the vibe, is that not only does Jeff give me creative freedom, but that's what we give each other on the team. And so when you're going to these parties, you are looking at, Rebecca's creative expression. And, the party last night for Meeting of the Minds, which was like a networking party, that was the one party I planned. That was an expression of my vision executed by people who understood what I was asking for,
It was fantastic.
And it was awesome.
It was fantastic.
It was awesome. And so being able to have that level of just like, okay, let's create together. You've got a Volkswagen Beetle that has been painted by a renowned festival artist that's going to be auctioned off to raise money for the orphanage and for speaker fees. And there's a lot of art influence here. There's art vendors. There's live art being painted. There's art being donated. The music, the nightlife is like moving art in itself. I mean, it's like, it's incredible. And going really well, I think.
One of my favorite changes that you made was two was starting the main speakers after lunch, because I'm a night guy and I never liked waking up early to get to a talk because I'm exhausted, not enjoying myself. I'm dragging ass because I really want to see this speaker. Now I can wake up, I can hit a workshop if I want or not. I can get coffee, I can wake up, I can have a bite, and then I can go see what I want to see. And the other thing I like was the single stage, because I always missed speakers I wanted to see in old Anarchapulco because I could only be in one place at one time.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, I'm paying a lot of money to miss half the people I want to see,
Yeah.
So that's really cool. I mean, you're having less speakers, so you're more focused.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But then opening the mornings into that complete, more of a decentralized model, it allows speakers to come on who maybe wouldn't have access to the main stage. And that's been really fun because I think we've, found people to bump up for next year. And I know for people on the team, we've really enjoyed the diversity of offerings we've been able to provide this year. I think it's so well-rounded and so diverse and so heart-centered. That's the other thing, is I think we have set really strong boundaries around the event. And I think between Lily and I think a role that we play together is really just to protect the integrity of the event in all ways. And so if there is something causing emotional disruption or spiritual disruption or physical safety issue, or it doesn't matter what type of disruption, if it's violating the integrity of what we are trying to cultivate and build here in this space, we have been addressing it in the moment in real time, and we have been removing aspects from the broader community that don't fit the vision that we have, if that makes sense.
And the nice thing is the way that we work together is like, when Kat is a no to something and sets a boundary, she has me there to back her up, which makes it more effective, and vice versa. When I'm like, okay, I'm not doing things this way next year, it's not happening, there's never been a situation where she's not backed me up on it. Because, we pretty much always make these boundaries in response to things that we want things to be easier for everybody involved. We want everybody to have a better experience. And we're both good at looking at things. We work in different, I look at the technical things and I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this thing this way next year because of this. And she'll look at the interpersonal thing, okay, well, dealing with this person, we're not doing this thing in this way with anybody in the future. And there have been a few times where she's needed backup on that. People have tried to steamroll over that, and same with me. And we, because of the force that we are together, it's sorry, but no.
Yeah.
And it has to be respected.
Yeah.
Have you learned anything that you're going to change next year?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you say what?
Yes. First of all, one person cannot manage nightlife and daytime stage. We've already made changes before next year. We've got someone else running the mornings now, and we just pivoted. We cannot have the same person running volunteers and registration and the vendor booth. So we've already pivoted and workshops, and there's all these things we grew in ways that were different, and created kind of a different result from last year. And the systems and methodologies we were using last year weren't totally scalable. And so we're just having to pivot in the middle of the event. So tomorrow and Friday, they're going to run differently. And we're already talking about next year. You know, as we talk about these problems, it's like, what do we do now? And what do we do next year? How do we prevent this next time?
Like one thing I can bring up is it turns out, and I had this hunch when I was putting these 35 workshops on the website with no schedule. I was like, I don't see this going well. But we pivoted already. The plan is, and this is the big boundary that I've set today, is like, next year we're taking applications for workshops. We are not guaranteeing one. We are picking first the people that are the most loved from previous years. If they submit again, of course, that's what the people want. We're going to follow the ticket sales on that one. And then no workshops will be put on the website without having a schedule, because some people are like, hey, I got these workshops because I got very excited and they're all at the same time and I'm sad. And it's like, I don't want to put attendees in that situation of, one, having to choose, and two, having to come to us like, okay, I kind of want a refund, because like we say no refunds, but that's a situation in which we're like, okay, that is technically our bad. And I saw the situation coming, but next year we've already got the plan, and it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah. And we just started making the plan today and yesterday, and it's just in real time. We're just doing what we can to make things flow as well as they can. And the venue's doing the same thing, and that's what I really like about the Secret Garden, is not only are they able to like pivot in the moment, and day one was kind of like a little bumpy, and then day two, boom, they got it. They fixed the things that weren't going right. And I feel like that's what we do too, but they also have this long-term co-creation vision with us, where each year they've built us a new stage area and they've accommodated us in these huge ways. Where the stage is right now was like a dirt field last year. It was just like literally nothing. There was no gravel, there were no plants, there weren't buildings. It was just nothing.
I noticed that the whole thing is suspended with barbed wire.
Yeah, it is.
Have you noticed?
I watched them build that because my circus rig is over there, and the week before the event it didn't exist, and I watched them build it day by day. And that's just Mexican ingenuity.
That's the sound of a margarita being made.
Yeah,
Don't worry about
we're in a restaurant.
But I think we need to have a big shout out to the venue, specifically to Santiago and Julio, who are Santiago has been running around doing the job of 6 men and carrying it well. He's always happy, he's always responsive. It's impressive to be able to work with people that work as hard as us to make this what it is.
The man stopped by and asked if I wanted something to drink and went and got me water. And I'm like, aren't you the owner? What are you doing? He's like, I want you to have a good time. Wow.
I have severe digestive things that I've talked about on other podcasts, and I have to accommodate for that, because if I eat gluten, I don't function, and if I don't function, things suffer. And we had a little struggle the first day of okay, where do I go so I can get food that is separate from what everybody else is eating, that I know is not going to hurt me. But now we have a system, and I just have to go there and be like, give me food, and they hand it to me, and I'm good. And it's beautiful how maybe they'll struggle for a day to accommodate the weird things, but I mean, we are at a flow state now. There's no anxiety about it. It's just after this, I'm going to go get more ceviche.
All right. Is there anything else that you'd like to say about the event?
I think this year's event is particularly special. I feel something in the air, and yes, everybody's like, Anarchapulco, it's the best, it's the whatever.
Oh, this is famous.
This is my 6th or 7th one. I've been going since 2018, and what's happening for me right now, I mean, it's just on a personal level. I'm seeing people from all these different time periods of my life come together, and I'm watching them meet each other, and I literally cannot believe that someone who was in my life when I lived in this one city 10 years ago is meeting with this person that I've done business with 4 years later, who's meeting with this person who I practiced yoga with for 6 months 5 years after that, and they're all in the same place
Yeah, that's
at the
been
same
weird.
time.
Meeting someone from Ohio that knew the same people that I did, and we just like, it just came up randomly, and we're like, you know that person? Oh my God, you know that person? It's
There's like this weird synchronistic thing, and I'm not sure what's going to come of it, but I just feel in my core that this group of people is up to something big. I think what's happening at Anarchapulco 2023 is going to ripple out in a way that has never happened before, because the right people are here at the right time.
All right.
Yeah.
Lily, do you have anything?
I mean, I agree 100%. Like, I was saying it a little bit because part of what we talked about on the panel earlier is like, what has Anarchapulco done for you? And it's like, my world in the way that it exists, like, I literally came to Mexico on the run, like, Anarchapulco will help me somehow. And it took a little longer than expected as depicted by the show. And really it helped in the beginning, but it was more the people around here. But the conference itself, it's like, I don't imagine my life without it, because I have helped build it into what it is. And it's this beautiful thing, and it's just like, you know, in 2018, I remember looking around being like, oh man, what have I associated myself with? And now I look around and I'm proud to be involved.
Yes,
and like,
yes,
I'm talking
yes.
to my circus friends who are, you know, they're just Mexicans who are freedom-minded like most Mexicans, but they've never heard of any of this stuff, and they're getting introduced to this community in the best way. They're having an amazing time. They're like, oh, the food's amazing, the cenotes are amazing, we love that the crowd loves us, you know, they're so nice. Like, I'm seriously proud to be, you know, in the position that I'm in. I think
Me
it's
too.
great.
Can I tell you guys what Anarchapulco has done for me?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
We want to know.
Okay.
Me too.
So, two things. The number one is the most obvious. It's that I met people that I want to keep knowing,
Exactly.
that I would have never met otherwise. And you know who you are. Some of you are my greatest friends right now, and I don't need to name their names, but they're there. There's like 5 people that are some of my greatest relationships that would never have existed if we hadn't met at Anarchapulco.
Exactly. This one right here.
And these people are awesome, by the way. And the second thing is more esoteric and weird, personal to Patrick. So things about the early Anarchapulco attracted me, the philosophy, the activism side. And that got me here. And it got me here, and it got me surrounded by a bunch of woo natural healing people that I would have never hung out with. Not
Yeah.
because I don't like them or whatever. It's
There's
just
not your circle.
It's not my people.
Yeah.
And it taught me. And when my first year here, I was like, okay, this is weird. There's weird people. There's this lady just walked by with no pants on, and she doesn't shave her armpits, and you know, like I'm way outside of my element or whatever. And
It's me. I don't shave my armpits. I'm
and
just
I do
kidding.
sometimes.
and what it taught me was that there's a lot of different kinds of anarchists.
Yeah.
And as long as we all agree on the anarchy part, then I can back up and give everyone around me space to just be fucking weird, be wild, be odd, believe things I think are stupid, and they can believe I believe things are stupid, you know,
that's
like,
okay.
and it
Yeah.
literally doesn't matter,
Yeah.
because if we agree on the core principle of leaving each other the hell alone and coexisting, then I can be friends with the wildest people. It's the government's influence that makes me have to judge the people I'm around, because they have, through the government and through voting, they have control over my life. But once we get into a space where people don't want to control me, it completely changes how you think about people next to you.
You no longer feel the need to, like, you must think exactly what I think. And it's like, okay, go ahead and think the earth is flat. Who fucking cares? Not my problem.
When I'm at home and
Just don't oppress that shit on me.
when I'm
Yeah.
home and I look at my next door neighbor who's a Bernie fucking bro that wants to vote me out of my guns, I have to judge the people I'm around when I'm around statists.
Yeah.
But when I'm not around statists, for the first time, Anarchapulco taught me that I can not judge, and I can make friends with people and learn things from people that I would have never talked to previously.
Or at least consider things and really wrap your head around it. Even if you're like, I'm still a big no to that, you can at least consider it.
And that's fine. And it's fine to be different.
Yes.
And that's what the event taught me. And I'm
In fact,
not even
it's kind of
exaggerating.
wonderful. It's
Yeah.
it's like more than fine. You know, Piazza told me earlier today or yesterday. She said basically the same thing, that here she just feels like she gets to be completely herself, and I feel like I get to be completely myself. You know,
Yeah, I become more and more weird as the years have come on. I'm inventing my own circus basically in my life. Like my entire life is circus now. I do all this weird stuff. But like I feel free now to just embrace that. Like I'm almost 30. If I want to have a collection of stuffed animals, I'm going to do it. So long as I pay my bills and take care of myself, who's that hurting, Like, what's wrong with that? And I think people should be allowed to have their little quirks and things that they do that maybe might not make sense to most people, but who cares?
Yeah. Yeah. The whole enemy of coexistence is
exactly
government control. And that's what the event taught me. So keep that up.
Oh, we will.
Thanks, guys.
As long as we're involved.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, for hanging out for a couple minutes.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
This was fun.
See you on the next one. Oh, yeah, I got to say the thing. You guys say the thing. I've
What's
been
the
saying
thing?
peace, love,
Peace,
anarchy.
love, and anarchy.
Oh, yeah. Peace, love, and anarchy.